The views and opinions on the Craig L. Hayes Show do not necessarily reflect those of Westgate Resorts, ownership, or management. And now, on with the show. This is the Craig L. Hayes Show.
And welcome back, everybody. This is going to be episode number 4 with Mary Walker, where we are talking about show business and behind the scenes and her time in wardrobe and everything that she's done. And we are at the Westgate Resort Las Vegas in Elvis Presley's dressing room next door to Barry Manilow's, the two guys that have the most shows ever performed in this room. Elvis had 636, and Barry Manilow is somewhere around 700 now. And I did 673 of those shows with him in this room. Amazing time, amazing career. Everything has been just incredible in my life, and it continues doing this and talking about show business. So, Mary, let's continue on. You got a couple more things there. I know you've been looking through a couple of your notes, trying to remember all the shows you did. You got any more stories for us in this last episode we're going to do?
Oh, sure. I need to back up and start. I got to go be with the crew that opened the MGM, the new one. And they had the Wizard of Oz costumes, and they had Lee Iacocca and Sugar Ray Leonard as their grand marshals for the parade, and they put a bunch of people in the costumes from the Wizard of Oz, and then they'll march through the middle part of to open the hotel. And what was funny was they had a sign-in sheet and nobody took it, and I was the last one there, so I just took the darn thing. This is my first call through the union, so I took the sign-in sheet over to BJ, and I got to be the steward for the grand opening of the MGM because nobody showed up to pick up the paperwork or anything, so I just took it with me.
Well, it's a good thing you did that, or people wouldn't have gotten paid.
Definitely not, but I got steward pay, and I got to meet BJ and Jackie Ward helped with my career, and I got to give a grand thank you to them. But next call came to go to the Riviera to go do Splash. And I know you're quite familiar with Splash.
Yeah, what year was that? You remember?
94.
Okay. Yeah,
93 or 4.
I was over here in August of 94 I started. So were you there before that? Because I don't remember.
The alligator was in the parking lot.
Oh, yeah, Tahar, yeah.
I come walking through the parking lot to go into the hotel, the back door to go into the theater, and these guys are loading this great big long alligator into a wooden box. And I thought, oh, this is going to be interesting. So I get in there, start doing the show, and then at one point they tell me that I have to go out on the stage and stand by this guy. Now, he's on the left side of me, and I'm in the middle, and the box that had the alligator in it is by my feet. And the stagehand tells me, you know what's in the box? And I said, yes, I saw it in the parking lot. And he says, plug your ears. So I plugged my ears, and they set off a pyro bomb. And I'm right there by this alligator. And I don't know whether they blew the alligator up, slid the box back, and then the guy ends up with this little teeny alligator on his arm. Because I don't remember all of that part of it, but that didn't make much sense to me.
No, that whole number didn't make a lot of sense, and it was just a bizarre number.
Because that's kind of seriously scary if that thing could break loose in the box and go get you.
Yeah, those things are very powerful. Yeah, so you were there. That was my last year when we did that. So you were there when I was there for just a short period of time, I guess. And then,
You only did 2 shows there, and one of the little girls says, "Now you got to put this leotard on her, and you have to pull real hard." So I pull her up all right. I pull her about 6 inches off the ground, and she says, "Not that. You don't pull me out that like that." But that was. And then I think they had to go fish one of the shoes out of the water tank for me. Got that dried off and then back to do another show. But I got to,
and then you got to come over here.
actually, I got to go to the Tropicana a couple of times.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I got to do the Follies Bergère. I didn't know I'll continue with going out there doing 2 shows. I'd leave Starlight Express here and go out the Trop and do their show. And they had one business meeting down there with all the stagehands, and our entertainment director was in the room cussing the guys out because they were moonlighting somewhere. And I looked at him and I go, "So what you're saying is we're not supposed to go have another job someplace else?" And he said, "Yes. You're not supposed to have a job someplace else. You're supposed to be just loyal, basically, to this hotel." I said, "So I've been going out to the Tropicana for 1.5 years now." And he just threw his hands up in the air and dismissed the whole group. And then as I'm walking down the hall, these guys are coming along and pat me on the back, thanking me all the way down the hall for getting them out of that one. But
Well, the life of a stagehand, including wardrobe, is you always find extra work somewhere else. I don't know any stagehands that only worked one job. I pretty much did once I came here because there was too much going on here to go moonlight somewhere else.
we did double back-to-back stuff. We did TV shoots, and then I did Star Policies people after that. And I know there's times when you guys slept in the basement.
Right in here, actually. They brought down those rollaway beds from housekeeping, and we set up a bunch in here, and we all just laid down and crashed for 4 or 5 hours and got up and went right back to it. So did that a few times.
Quick turnaround. We did the PBS special. Anyway,
Jubilee. How long did you work over at Jubilee?
anytime there wasn't work at the Hilton, and I got to make pink and orange hats for 42 girls. They had a cast of 120 when the first round that I started. I got to be a dresser for I think 2 shows. They didn't like me because they had these big backpack things with the feathers and jewelry and all that, and they were heavy. And I pulled the thing down for the girl, and then I felt it starting to go to the right. And she grabbed it. "Oh, no, no, no." But they found out I could sew, and that was the end of that. I got put in the costume shop, so I got to do Bob Mackie designs and Pete Menefee, and I forgot who the other costume original stuff were. Some of the, like the Titanic scenes, and they sank the Titanic every night, and they had the boiler room where they had an adagio, and then they brought Samson and Delilah's castle down. It was all around MGM movie shows.
Yeah, that's where I started working, was building all that stuff back in 1980. Never did see the show, though. Never did work the show, nothing. So I can tell you how everything was built. I was on the crew that built the show, but yeah.
They had all the costumes and all that all ready to go. And hotel caught fire and burned the costumes and everything, so they had to start over from scratch again.
Yeah, and all the scenery came back over to the where we were building the show because it had to be stripped and recleaned and repainted. Everything had to be almost redone. That was a mess. Boy, that was a mess. But the show did go on. Just took a little while longer for it to get on.
Yeah, we had Chicago here. And I got an autographed picture that they gave me. And I got it framed and hanging at my house.
Good. Yeah, I enjoyed them. It was a good show.
Yeah, they were like, all right, which way did I go? We had Rent here.
Yeah, that was a good play.
Was it 3 weeks that you took building the set?
No, the set came in ready to go. It just took us an extra day to load the whole thing in because logistically we still had Starlight Express's lighting truss up and we didn't have anywhere to fly all their stuff, so we had to come up with some new ideas on how to get all their lighting stuff up in the air. It was just it was different. It was all fine. It was a fun show though, and
We had the Oak Ridge Boys here.
yeah, their TV special.
And then we had Alabama for the record.
Yeah, the HBO special. Yeah.
Now, here's an interesting trivia for you.
Okay.
Randy Owens told me that he'd been in a helicopter crash
Oh.
and that I was going to have to help him change his shirt and jeans and that he wasn't going to be able to snap and button his shirts. And I was going to have to tuck his pockets in his jeans. And I don't remember, I made him zip his zipper. I think I had to tighten his belt, but I thought I was going to die before I got done with that because I'm a big fan of his, and to be that close to another individual tucking his pants.
Kind of intimate there, weren't you?
Yes, and try not to remember that I'm a fan and that I'm a dresser. And he changed his shirt 7 times, and I think he pants 5 times during that show. And then I asked his bus driver about the helicopter crash, and his bus driver knew nothing about it. He says that Randy Owens doesn't go far from the farm.
Oh, so he was just messing with you, huh?
I think so.
But you didn't mind, right? That was fine.
I didn't mind.
Not at all, no.
What a thrill that was, huh?
Put a smile on Mary's face and
For you weeks.
turned her beet red at the same time.
40 of their greatest hits, and the ladies think they had the show. Gail and I had the show backstage.
Yeah, sounds like it. You guys all had the fun part for it. Yeah, that was a great evening. All 40 of their number 1 hits. Mm-hmm. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, Jubilee is another story altogether because what we did was to redo costumes and modernize them a little bit. I did the pink and orange outfits. We redid all of the feather backpacks and the little leotard type things, and then they had 42 hats, and then that was something else because you took 3 sheets of what they call buckram, and you wet that down and put it over a wig head, and you pinned it, and you had to shape it and get all the wrinkles out of it, and then let it dry, and the next day you could put the shape of whatever the hat was going to be on and trace that around on it, and then you had to wire it, and then there was like about 25 steps to building just one of those hats, and we did 42 of them because you start out with this structure, and then you put felt.
How often did you have to change those hats and remake them? Was every time they
Just
got
once.
new girls or something, or
That they did through the elastics and the different things in it. They would change depending on the size of the girl's head. But they had those rhinestone crowns up on top of them, and that was all hand sewn on. They were all rhinestone chains going all the way around the edges of them. And there was like, you put the cover on the middle first, and then wired. You had to wrap the wire in bias tape in order to have something to sew to. And then the inside of it was lined with another felt lining, and had an extension of elastic in the back, and then a chin strap that went down underneath their chin. And the balance was the most important part of them, was they had to be balanced so you don't tilt forward or tip backwards. But they were quite something. Their stage crew got to do the upper structure where the rhinestones and that were put on them. But it did tulip-shaped black velvet skirts, and then they had a rhinestone palm tree-looking effect on the front. And I'm not sure whether there's like 14 of them or something. I forgot the numbers on them anymore. But we did those all from scratch. And then we did the Titanic ballroom scene, and they were a pedal-type skirt with a really fancy top. They were topless, but there was so much going on around that you couldn't tell that they were nude. But they had some of the most beautiful hats, and we did their hats for that number too. And then I got to do Samson's G-string once, and then the Adagio outfit for the Delilah lady. And then we got to do, we redid what at the end finale number was a jewel box, and they had diamonds, emeralds, rubies, sapphires, where the different ladies that were walking down the stairs were different stones in the jewelry box. And if they lost an earring or something, they had a security guard named Randy, the last living cowboy out there at Bally's, and he would go through the audience and demand whatever item was lost away from people that were sitting in around the stage. But it was quite a time we had out there. There was a day crew that used to do all the laundry and do all the white shirts and that for the different cast members. They had all the rhinestone jackets we did for the guys. And then...
So you had a cast of 120 in that show. How many wardrobe dressers on the show?
I'm not sure whether there's 14 or something like that. Not as many as Starlight Express.
Okay. And how many in the fabrication, the costume fabrication, repair, whatever you want to call it, during the daytime?
There was like Marios and Bistra and me, and then Cindy and Ava used to come and do ironing, and Ava took care of men's alterations. And then there was Irma Cooper. She used to be the head wardrobe for the Riviera, for the Flamingo for years. And then she ended up as working in the costume shop with us. But she did all the line dance, and they have in the Jubilee show. And she was quite a character, because we used to listen to her talk about being born in Lithuania during World War II, and how her and her brothers and mother walk from Lithuania to Paris, France, with a wagon and a horse through the Russians and Germans and United States, basically. I mean, we got some really good stories
Yeah.
that were told.
So the daytime wardrobe was 8 or 10 people, basically?
Mm-hmm.
Just to keep the costumes in shape and keep them clean. And
We didn't really do that so much as the other dressers in the other room. They put a lot of stuff and mended things, but I got really good at mending fishnet tights, which that's an art if you do knitting and crocheting and that kind of thing.
And that just makes it so interesting because you hear this and, people go and see the show and they go, man, there's a lot of people on it. Yeah, but there's a lot of people behind the scenes to try to make it happen, to keep it looking that good. There's an army of people just to make the show ready to go, not working on the show as far as the show, but getting it ready. And
You don't want to cross the hall when they're bringing the stairs down, the stagehands, because otherwise there's no way to stop them. You would have got run over and squashed.
those were huge stairs. Even though they broke into pieces, they came apart and they were pinned together and stuff, they were still massive. These stairs were,
That stage had 4 elevator shafts on it.
yeah. And don't step in the wrong place at the wrong time, or you're going to take an express elevator to the basement.
Hank Post fell in that.
There's been people over the years that have fallen in all kinds of elevators and gotten seriously hurt, and because, down in the basement, it's not you're falling down onto just a flat surface down there because it's only flat and cleared for a minute because they take those pieces off the elevator, and they're moving other big scenic pieces onto it. So you could literally land on the sinking Titanic. You could literally land on the bull. I mean, there's all that stuff in the basement. And it's 6 guys or 8 guys down there pushing this stuff around, getting it ready to go. It's a lot of people to make this thing happen every night. So
They cut the show down to about 100 on stage. But if you watch Rocky IV, I think it is, that is done on that stage with the Jubilee ladies all up around the edges around.
yep. And they had the bull. They had all kinds of stuff on that. And it was good seeing that. That was the first time I've seen it, working the way it did. That's pretty cool. Huh. Any other good stories?
Had Tropicana. I didn't know this. One of the Sin City bad girls used to be one of the tall ladies in the Tropicana show.
And that was another one of those topless shows. It was a French or Paris type show, and Follies, obviously. Yeah.
Can girls, tall, beautiful women. And they had to turn sideways to get through the aisles in the dressing room. Their place was absolutely cramped. I mean, they were like squeezed in a sardine can back there. And what was funny is we had one of the dressers, her name was Maxine, and she was the former wife of an entertainer here in Vegas, but she was the traditional older lady from the good old days of high-dressed, society-looking ladies. She wore great big old high heels, her fancy wig, her dresses that she used to have, had bright red lipstick and her long fingernails, and she would trot out, and I have no idea how she kept from slipping and falling and breaking a leg, but she was a dresser for one part of the show. But that was Miss Maxine. When her husband left her, he took his grand piano out and rolled it down the street to get it out of the house where they were living. But she was a character. She used to go get a fifth of booze between shows to go home with.
Wow.
And then they got the deal in our contract where we're not allowed to drink on the job. Or to drink before or after, and I asked Mark Harmon about that, and he says, "Well, you happen to be under a higher authority than that," because I was asking him if we could drink during the show. He told me in a polite way, "No."
No, that's not something you should be doing, is drinking before the show or during it, that's for sure.
Now, they had one lady out there that passed out, and she was in the ladies' room, and they had to pull her out by her feet. And then that's what created. Actually, the ladies got drunk one day, I guess, and one of the ladies lost her car for quite a while. It took them several days to figure out which bar they left her car. But they came in and they told those guys, "You guys are just going to have to dress yourself tonight." And they went out on another binge between shows.
Oh, well.
And the ladies, the one lady that was in charge of all of them, she said they could do arts and crafts all the time, but they mended clothes for the show with invisible thread. They sit around acting like they were mending things, and they didn't.
Instead of doing the work, just pretending to do the work, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Well, good. Well, we're in the last few minutes here of this podcast. Anything else you want to tell us about? Any good memories, and what were the best parts about being in the business?
I started working at the Hilton. My husband went into the hospital for the first time. I had 5 kids at home. So this business has been a lifesaver to me because I had no way of keeping the roof over my head. And by somehow, whether it's divine intervention by the Father in heaven to give me the opportunity to go and get into a career like this. I was 51 years old when I went back to work. So,
Yeah, that's a little bit late in life to be picking it up and starting again.
I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity to have done all the different things. And it has managed to keep a roof over my head for this whole time.
And you built up a nice little pension and had health care and all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm. On me, some of my kids at one time, but it's crazy what life hands you.
Yeah.
I never turned around and blamed anybody for the road I've been on. I'm still grateful for everything I get in life every day.
And you got to be in an amazing industry and do some incredible shows and be around the best entertainers in the world.
Definitely the best entertainers in the world.
Isn't that amazing? And you got paid to do it. And that's the thing. We get paid to see these shows where everybody else is paying $50, $80, $100, $200, $300, whatever it is, to come see it. We get to watch these shows for free and get paid for it.
Will Smith and what's the other one?
Jamie Foxx and
them have gone on to be super duper characters in this world.
yeah. Yeah, we had them here a few times. Damon Wayans, Jamie Foxx, Mike Epps. Oh, boy, but we had a lot of people here.
Steve Wright,
Oh, Stephen Wright. Oh, man.
the Wayne brothers.
Okay, confirm this. You know, you were around Stephen Wright down here before he'd go on the show. I always tell people the way he acts on stage is the way he acts off stage. He's just that quiet and dry, and they're like, no way. And I go, no, it's pretty much, that's who he is. It's
Wandered down the hall looking like you're lost.
yeah. And man, he is so funny too. Golly, some of the people we've seen and been around, and we got to work with over the years. What a blessing! What an amazing career, you know. Now that I'm out of it too, you've been out of it for a few years here, and now I'm finally out of it. So
Go home to your real life, and I got 30 years of not being able to get my housework done. Now I'm paying the price.
you know, and of course I couldn't get out of it completely because here I am back right in the place I left, retired, and doing these shows, and just enjoying talking about show business and the shows that went on here. It's awesome to be able to come back and do these things. You know, I hope it goes for a little bit longer or a lot longer, whatever it ends up being. It's very cool. So
The fun part is not letting the size of the building overcome the entrance. Because if you look at how big the building is outside here, and you let that overwhelm you, then you're not really able to come in and do your job on a smaller level.
yeah. Well, we're just these little ants that work on a really big piece of construction site or whatever. But what we do is just incredible, and wouldn't change a thing in my life over it. It's been so amazing. You know. So Mary, thank you for coming in and doing the show. It's been wonderful sitting down with you again because I haven't seen you in a while now. Used to see you every day here. Used to be around you every day, and yeah, some funny stuff. We've lost a lot of people over the years.
Too many of them are gone.
Yep. And hopefully, if Brad ever comes back to town, we'll come and we'll grab him. We'll come see, and you can say hi. I think he'll like that. Yeah,
I would really enjoy that.
yeah. Brad's a funny guy, man. He's quite the character. So, anyways, Mary, thank you again. Thanks for coming in on the show, and this will be on YouTube in the next. Let's see, by next Thursday or Friday, I'll have it on YouTube, and I'll let you know. Then you can tell your family and friends, check out the show. Anyways, with that, Talbot, take it away.
This is the Craig L. Hayes Show.